Right now, front row, Tim May on 3, the Tim May Show.
Thanks, Jerry. Ryan, you had to like that the last half of the second quarter. Yeah. I mean, everything just kind of came together offensively and defensively, the explosion. I mean, just what's your take on that? And did you see something about this team that you wanted to see tonight?
Yeah, we needed to take the next step. We know what we're about to jump into here in the middle of the season. We know we have to go on the road next week, and I mean, that was a good week of work right there. Now, it started Sunday. It was Tuesday was a really physical day. Wednesday was a great day. Thursday we kept going at them. I mean, it was all week because we knew we had to turn this up, and we need to build some momentum going into next week. So, I think you saw our team play like that today, and that's what it's got to be moving forward.
Over here to the left, Rob Allard, the dispatch, and then give it to Cam.
Ryan, when you have a game like this, everything seems to be clicking, working. Is it hard to nitpick the next day to really find anything, or is that where you go, the things that you have to still work on?
Yeah, no, what we have to do is we have to find those plays that we know in a matchup game can cost us, because we know it can come down to one play. But what we wanted to do in this game is, and we knew it wasn't going to be perfect, we wanted to play really, really hard, really super competitive, a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of people running around. We got that done, but that's the way we're going to have to play moving forward. I think that we knew it was going to be, a wide open game. They were going to make some plays, but I thought our defense overall didn't flinch. They hung in there. They hung in there on the fourth downs. And that was good. And then you saw some guys make some plays. You saw Kyle respond after the turnover. That was big, because that's one of those things you want to watch in a quarterback, is how they're going to respond. Are they going to go into their shell or just keep pushing forward? And he was aggressive on the big touchdown. And then we were able to flip the scoreboard there. I guess we had maybe 35 points there. And then also the 2-minute drill. I thought about taking a knee, but I said, no, we need to find out what he can do in a 2-minute drill. And he pushed it down the field, and it was good to see that, because that's going to be something we're going to have to do, to win games. He also did it in the Indiana game at the end of the first half as well. So good signs there.
Over here to the right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch, and then to Clay.
You mentioned the defense, and the defense only gave up 10 points the first 2 games, but they didn't face an offense like this one.
Right.
What did you like about it? I assume the turnovers, the havoc that was created, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Obviously, in the second half, the turnovers were huge. I thought they hung in there when they were getting the stops in the end of the first half and getting the ball back to the offense. They kind of fed off of that, and we had some really good momentum going there. Good passion, bunch of guys playing fast, violent. There was some really good collisions going on. There was a really good hit by Latham. He got I don't know if that was a fourth down stopper, but that was. That's what we're looking for. Guys flying sideline to sideline and getting their hands on balls in the secondary. That quarterback's very good. He'll rip it and challenge us. So we'll get on the film and figure out the areas we got to get better at.
Over here to the left, Cameron Teague Robinson, the Athletic, then to Nathan.
Ryan, last week you mentioned trying to balance efficiency with being explosive on offense.
Yeah.
Obviously, they cut it to 14-10. Then you got the big touchdown, got to stop, and then got another touchdown on the next play. How does that impact the team when it's a close game? They pop 2 big runs, and then, like you said, you're efficient on the 2-minute drill as well.
Yeah, I mean, they play off of each other, and when we're running the ball the way we were today, that makes it a lot easier, and that was big. It was big to get some explosive runs. It was good to move the line of scrimmage. We converted on some third downs much better. Wasn't perfect again. We'll keep working at it, but there was some really good things there. I thought the 3rd and 10 was good. Where we picked it up in protection, and Kyle found Marvin on the drag for, I think it was 3rd and 10. That was big, and we did much better in short yardage. So those are all things that we're going to have to do, to stay efficient. But when we're staying efficient in the run game, that allows us to be more aggressive throwing the ball.
Over here to the right, Clay Hall, WSYX, and then to Lori.
Some defensive scores. Could you describe the tie leak technique on that dive?
Yeah, Mick said he looked like he was burrowing for like a dog looking for a bone in the ground. He just kind of went through and kind of found it, and it was great. But it's funny, we do talk about that, how when you get into those piles, that ball could be anywhere. And so, you got to get in there and see if you can be the first guy to get it. And that was great. I mean, I was a little disappointed Steele wasn't able to pick that one up and scoop it, but nobody's more disappointed than him, I'm sure. But great effort, by Denzel coming up and knocking that one out. And then I also think that there was a great play by Steele. I think it was one of the third downs where it was pitched and he came to the edge and showed up in a big way. I thought that kind of ignited our defense a little bit too. I mean, it was well executed. I think Tommy did a really good job of communicating it, and Steele was right there. And that's what we're talking about with our linebacker play, is playing fast and downhill and being decisive.
Okay, hey, folks, the people on the tables there, if you can clean the tables off, I'm going to get a couple defensive players back there right now. We're going to go ahead and start them while Coach is still going here. And the back table, if you guys could just pull that back about 3 more feet, I'd appreciate it. We're going to send Steele Chambers and Jordan Hancock to the back for anybody that wants to start talking with them. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we're going to go back over here to the left, Nathan Baird with Cleveland.com, and then to Dan.
Ryan, there was some pretty exuberant celebrations from some of your offensive linemen early in this game on those third down conversions. I know you haven't had a full film review yet, obviously, but did you, in general, see what you wanted to see from the next step from that offensive line group?
I like the emotion that we saw, for sure. We'll look at the film and see what we got, but that, they were challenged. A lot of guys on our team were challenged this week, and it was good to see them respond. I think you could see how fired up they were after some of those drives where they felt like they were getting some movement, and that's what we need out of our offensive line.
And, folks, we also have Emeka Abuka at the back. Over here to the right, Lori Schmidt, Columbus Dispatch, and then to Dylan.
Ryan, just what was the biggest difference in this game to the previous 2?
I just think that the style of the game allowed us an opportunity to kind of, go play and compete. But make no mistake about it. I mean, we were turning it up this week. We know what we're about to get into. We wanted to build momentum going into next week. And everything was turned up in a big way. So we got to get back to work. Notre Dame starts now. Usually we started on Sunday. We're starting to prepare tonight.
Over here to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned taking that next step. You said that at Skull Session before a game. Yeah. What was it that gave you the confidence that this kind of performance was coming today?
What went on this week in practice? We had a few people come to practice, and boy, they said, man, that was as physical of practice I've seen in a long time. The guys responded. We talked about it on Tuesday. We needed to do it. Well, actually, we talked about it on Sunday. And then we have a team meeting before practice on Tuesday, and we laid out what needs to be done this week. And these guys like to get challenged, and we pushed them hard this week. So that was a good sign that they responded.
Over here to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Ryan, our one-play drives, your response to the clock rules? Is that your response to the clock rules? Just
yeah, right.
One-play drives?
Yeah. That certainly makes things a lot easier, yes.
With Kyle, did you notice anything different this week, just with him being the unquestioned leader of the offense? It's just his poise and something that maybe you saw that he just got it, that he's the guy now. Did you notice anything
He
like
had
that?
his best week of practice. Whether that was, coincidental or not, I don't know. And you'll have to ask him that. But he did have his best week of practice.
Over to the left, Joe Nugent, WCMH.
You mentioned Kyle's response to that strip sack. It was 5 touchdowns after that. Did you see anything from him on the sideline, or did you have any sense that that was coming?
He's poised. He doesn't really ride the roller coaster, and I think that's one of his strengths. And at that point, I just kind of stayed away and asked him what he saw and let him know what I saw. Didn't get upset, just said, all right, we got to come back and go play now. We got a long game ahead of us, and was interested to see how he'd respond. I wasn't going to be conservative at that point. I wanted to really push the envelope because, we have to turn it up, based on where we're going. And so he responded, and it was good. He wasn't phased, and that's important because there's going to be plays that don't go exactly the way we design them, and there's going to be tough moments, and we're going to have to respond, and that's what being competitively tough is all about.
Okay, we have time for just 3 more questions for Coach Day. Over here to the right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, given the teams you played the first 2 weeks, you guys had all been emphasizing there wasn't a chance to get much of a pass rush first 2 weeks. Maybe that was a little bit more presented today. What did you like about what you saw from the defensive line?
Yeah, I thought there was a point where they really, put their hands in the dirt and started coming hard. I thought, they were into it. I liked their, their competitiveness. I think they're going to watch it and see some things that they even can, improve on. He does get the ball out quick too. He wasn't like he was hanging on to the ball a lot, so the ball was coming out quick. But there was a lot of things there to go on and a lot to learn from. But just their overall attitude was really good. I mean, they were into it. They were, I felt them out there today, which is a good sign.
All right, 2 and done. Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Along those same lines, how do you deal with your DNs? This guy got it out so fast, this quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any sacks by the DEs. I mean, are they getting down about that, or you just have to kind of keep them pretty buoyant, or the dynamic of this game? How does that play out?
No, you watch the film and you try to figure out, what is real and what isn't. But they're anxious. They want to get it more than anybody. And what you can't do is then abort your your technique or anything like that. You have to make sure that you're continuing to do what you do, because it'll happen. There'll be plenty of opportunities for that.
And final, sorry.
No, and just that, I think that there'll be a lot to learn from here, because we haven't really played against a team that maybe throws as much as we've seen, previously. So we'll get on the film and figure it out. But I think the week of work that they had will be important to replicate this week going into Notre Dame.
And final question, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, what kind of led to the strip sack? What was kind of the issue underlying that?
Well, I think if we'll watch it on film, I got to see it on film to be sure. The safety was real low, and I think that maybe Kyle, didn't have a great feel for the angle that maybe Marvin was coming out at, and so didn't let it go. And then once that happened, when you get to the second part of your read, there's bodies down there, because I always say if number one's open, and you don't throw it, 2 and 3 won't be open because of the way the zones work. And so we just got to clean up just the angle, because that was really what it came down to. Marv kind of inside released, and he didn't quite see the angle. And then when the sack happened, we need to just third hand that and protect it, because we can still live with 2nd and 15. We can respond to that. But obviously the fumble is something that we got to learn from. But again, I was just impressed with how he responded from that point on.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.